But what I've been asked to talk about is leading teaching and learning, which really, I guess, is what we're all here for and what we're all on about. And if only it was as easy to do as to have it trip off my tongue, leading teaching and learning. It is an incredibly, I think, challenging task that we all face, that we're all working through. And so hopefully some of what I go through today will actually assist you in that process. I actually wanted to start with some information that some of you might have seen before, which is the work of Vivienne Robinson from the University of Auckland, as you can read. And she's been doing quite a bit of work on what leadership practices actually make a difference. So what is it that leaders do when we look at the research and the evidence base that makes a difference to student outcomes, not just in general, but how might we link it together? And as a result of that research that she did, basically the core finding wasn't surprising, I don't think, to any of us. When leaders focus relationships, work and learning on the core business of teaching and learning, that's when we get the difference. And obviously that's what you're here to talk about today. What she did, though, was to also identify 5 dimensions of leadership to improve student outcomes. And I know these are a bit different from our Sir Giovanni dimensions and so on, but they're actually trying to capture something a little bit different. And as you can see, what they had was some of the critical work was establishing goals and expectations, resourcing strategically to achieve those goals, planning, coordinating and evaluating, promoting and participating in teacher learning and development, and ensuring an orderly and safe environment. Now what I did, some of you will know what I'm going to ask now, but what I'd like you to do, what she then did, what they did was look at the research and work out which of those 5 were the most important. So what I'd like you to just do on your own quickly, just think in your head, what would I put number 1 through to 5? Which would be the most important, do you think, to actually lead to improved student learning outcomes? Down to 5. So just in your head, very quickly, the presentation will be available at the end. So anyone who's scribbling or whatever, it will be available online for you at the end. So just think, pair, share. So think on your own and then pair up with someone and discuss. So let's have a look. The higher the score, the more important it is. You can't have a score over 1. So this is, what we're looking at here is effect size. Okay. All right, I'll just bring people back. I was at a presentation that Vivienne actually gave, and quite a few people were actually asking her particularly about the bottom one, the importance of that. And she said, look, it is a given. You do have to have that, but the research isn't showing that that's necessarily the most... It is critical, but I think it's really interesting to actually see that number 4 is the one that makes a difference. So what does that mean for us as leaders in schools? That if we actually want to lead teaching and learning, that our role is actually to not only promote it, but to make sure that we're participating in that teacher professional learning at the same time. And I've only got to, I guess, remember back to my own experience when I was at a school. One of the strongest things I remember was that the principal at the time, Tony Bell, who some of you may know, Tony went to every single bit of professional learning. He never missed it. It didn't matter what else was happening. If there was staff professional learning, he was there and he was part of it. And so I guess I experienced from first hand the importance of that and the symbolic message that it gave to people about learning and about professional learning. I'm going to actually look at a little bit of learning theory in a minute, and as we go through it, hopefully we'll see why from a learning theory perspective, number 4 is so critical as well. But we can see some of the others are obviously standing out, the goals and expectations, and evaluating, planning, coordinating and evaluating teaching and curriculum, all around instructional leadership and that work that's so critical for us to be doing as leaders within schools.